I've never done this before. So what could go wrong? I'm just going to remove this capo here. It doesn't fall apart. There you go. That's all that's really been holding it together. There you go. It's kind of right so far, isn't it? Well, so I suppose I need to mix some glue up now. There you go, a little bit more spillage. So let's put some strings on, see if it will tune up. I'm scared. Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. So this week, we're going to try and finish off this Flying V comparison. This will be part 3. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, links are in the description box. But basically, we've been trying to compare these. Epiphone inspired by Gibson mahogany standard version costing $649. And this one, the expensive Korina version, inspired by Gibson Custom, costing $1,299. Yeah. If you've been following, you'll know that last week we did all the specs, compared the, all the neck profiles and pickup readings and took them apart and that. But of course, we haven't been able to play the Korina one yet, have we? Due to the fact that it arrived with a badly busted headstock. I'll show you. I'm just going to remove this capo here. Hope it doesn't fall apart. There you go. That's all that's really been holding it together. It's hanging on there, but as you can see, it's in a bit of a state. So, yeah, arrived like that, sadly. Obviously, I was offered a refund, but I couldn't get another one. This was the last one in the UK at the moment anyway. So, and I really wanted to finish this comparison, hear them together to see if this one sounds any better, really. It's got the Gibson burst bucket pickups in it and stuff, hasn't it? And, different tone wood. So, yeah, I thought, you know what, sod it. I managed to negotiate a discount. Let's hang on to it and let's try and fix it. Could be fun, couldn't it? And I say try because I've never done this before. So what could go wrong? What I thought we'd do today is literally step by step go through me gluing it basically and clamping it up and trying to fix it. And then we'll come back, and at the end of this film, it will hopefully have dried. And hopefully I'll be able to put some strings on it, plug it in, and we can crank it up alongside the other one and see what it sounds like. That's the plan. Timestamps are in the description box if you want to skip at all, just, to the final bit, see if it was successful. But I urge you to stay with me through the process. Go and make yourself a nice cup of tea, get some biscuits and some nibbles, maybe even a sandwich this week. Not sure how long it's going to take. Obviously, I'll speed up the boring bits, but I will talk you through the whole process, tell you what I'm doing, and if I fuck it up, I'll show you, okay? I promise. So, yeah, let's get stuck in, see what happens. Let's do it. Right, first thing to do is, of course, mask up and put a bit of brown paper on to try and prevent glue spillage onto my... It's a yoga mat, actually, if you were wondering what this is that I have on my bench here. And it's not even a bench, by the way, it's a flight case. Behind the scenes. I'm ruining the magic, aren't I? Okay. I'm going to take it slowly and I'll just speed up through any bits that I think are way too dull. It's going to annoy me, that. just a bit of masking tape just to protect the fingerboard. I am using this water-based glue though. I'm going to be using the Tight Bond, the wood glue, water-based, so it cleans up easy with a damp rag. The option that was recommended to me, and some people might prefer to try, is this Starbond Thin CA, super glue basically, which is very thin, so it will go in the tiniest of cracks, whereas the Tight Bond is thick and is going to be harder to work with. But I'm just not confident that I could use the super glue without sticking myself to the guitar and the guitar to the bench and God knows what else. So as much as that might be a better solution, I'm going with the wood glue for ease of use. And yeah, I want to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and thin it down, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself already, aren't I? Now also I'm going to have to put some lubrication around the truss rod here. As you can see, it's moving, it's completely separated from the fingerboard at the top there. So the glue will hopefully get right deep down in there, and I don't want it to impede the truss rod movement in the future. So I'm going to try and get some of this Vaseline down in there. This from the garage downstairs. I use this on my nuts and bolts on the motorbikes. Put a little thin coating of Vaseline on your nuts and bolts, and it prevents them corroding. It's a little tip for you motorcycle enthusiasts there. Okay, so what I discovered, you know, I always imagined that a truss rod was in a truss rod shaped hole, but it's not. It's in a channel, a square channel. I suppose if you think about it, it's obvious really. But anyway, I have discovered that a pipe cleaner goes down there. And I thought, well, you know what, that would be brilliant. If I coat this pipe cleaner in Vaseline, I can, you know, wiggle it around and get some in there. So that's my idea. Let's give it a go. See what happens. Look at that. A liberal coating of Vaseline. And now I smell like Vaseline. And my name is Bobby Brown. Watch me now. I'm going down. Here we go. Oh, hang on. Let's just come. I think that's going to work. Okay. Should do the job. I'm figuring that, you know, being wood glue against metal, you know, if I need to tweak the truss rod, it should break the bond there anyway, shouldn't it? But getting in a mess already. Just found a bit of blue tack I'm gonna stuff down there as well, just to help. Let's put the old put the capo back on just for now. Here you go. It's kind of right so far, isn't it? Right. Next. Yeah, what's next? Well, so I suppose I need to mix some glue up now. Crikey. Yeah, let's mix some glue. So, yeah, as I say, I'm using the Tight Bond. I'm going to do this here in front of you. I'm not going to disappear and then come back with it and say, oh, here's some stuff I prepared earlier. I'm going to do this here and see what goes wrong. I understand that you can dilute this by 5% without it affecting its stickiness. So that's what I'm going to do. First thing I've got to try and do is work out how to open it. To open, push. Oh, pull to open, push to close. Oh, okay. So I've put a little bit of water in here. Did that earlier. A little bit of water. gone a bit manky already, actually. Oh, hang on, I'm just going to go and refresh that. Change of plan. I'm going to start with an empty receptacle and put some glue in there. Is that going to come straight out, or do I need to? Oh, it's coming straight out. Oh, actually, do you know what? That isn't that thick. Get a close up on that. Is it? That's not that bad. How much do I need? Apparently, you can never have too much glue. I'm sure that's going to be enough, isn't it? Okay. Push to close. Little squirt of water. Yeah, that's it. Just a little bit. So I've got these couple of brushes to sort of poke it in. And I've got this little syringe. I don't know if it will work or not, but what we're going to have to do is have a go and see and try and not break it anymore, really. So I'm going to start, I'm going to start putting some glue in, see what happens. The great thing about, obviously, this tight bond is there's no urgency because, you know, it's not going to start drying for a little bit, but it's quite a nice consistency now, look. Yeah, I'm liking that. It's like I know what the fuck I'm doing. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to start with this other brush. Hopefully I've got enough cameras on this so that you can see, you know, everything that's going on as it goes on. Oh. An unexpected or an unplanned byproduct of putting that paper towel roll there. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to start on this side because the crack on this side, as you can see, is not as significant. So let's just see if that brush will get in there. This is the bit where I have to be careful, really, not to actually rip it off. And you have to work it like this, apparently. Hope you can see that. Work it. And it helps it to sort of get further in, get deeper in, and give it a bit of a wipe. Probably need a damp cloth. More glue. Can feel the adhesion already when I close it up. Here is the interesting part, because what I'm going to do is just give it a bit of a wipe. Put my capo back on for a minute. There you go, a little bit more spillage. Right, this is the bit that might be fun. We're going to clamp it up with this surgical tubing, or we're going to try to anyway, without breaking it further, hopefully. The idea being that you wrap this tightly around, and it really kind of, you know, it really kind of, well, clamps it properly, I suppose. You know what I mean? So I had a little tryout of doing this on another guitar earlier, just to see if I thought I could. And what I've done already is I've put that the wrong way round. I've made a little lasso, as you can see, because I figured that'd be a good way to start it. There's some great proper people that know how to do this properly. Ted Woodford's a great channel, T Woodford, I think it is. I'll put a link in the description box. I mean, I've watched loads of his stuff for a long time, actually, because it's great, it's entertaining. And he really recommends this, and he knows what he's doing. This puts a really good even pressure all the way along the crack. And some guys as well on the Guitaristas forum on our TV channel have been recommending this method as well. So look, I'm actually doing it as I'm talking. Crikey. I suppose you can't put too much pressure on. As I'm doing this, I can see a little bit more squeeze out coming. Hopefully you can see that. It's a bit of a guess as to what the cameras are picking up from various different positions, unfortunately, but and obviously this is not, I say obviously, hopefully this is not going to damage the frets or the fretboard or anything, because it's only rubber. Yeah. Bit of squeeze out. Jeez. Just hope I put enough glue in there. Take the capo off now. Cool. I hope all the audio's recording and everything. Be a right bummer, wouldn't it, if I'd gone this far and found it hadn't been recording. You wouldn't believe me, would you, if I said, "Oh yeah, it went fine. Sorry, the camera's fucked up." Right. So now, what my plan? I do have a plan to clamp that as whether or not I can reach the. Hang on. Got it. That'll do it. Just checked, I am still recording. Well, oh look, some nice squeeze out there. Right, well that's that. What we're going to have to do now is leave it they say clamp it, because there's going to be pressure on this, 24 hours. I'm going to leave that on there for 24 hours at least, probably longer. And then I'm going to let it cure for up to 72 hours before I do anything with it. I'm doing this on Saturday morning, so I've got plenty of time to let it cure and then come back to this on Tuesday and finish the film for Friday. So there you go. That is my first attempt at repairing a broken headstock. So I'll see you in a minute. In your time, in about 3 days in my time, and we'll take this off and we'll see if it's worked. Fingers crossed. See you in a bit. And we're back 3 days, approximately 72 hours later. It should be dry. Should we have a look? Just going to prop this up like that for camera purposes. Here we go. It's just, I mean, I'm confident. I am confident, obviously, it's going to be dry, isn't it? The thing that I'm uncertain about is how, if this tubing's going to stick to the neck at all. Doesn't appear so, does it? Yeah, you can see some squeeze out. I suppose that's good. It's doing its own thing. I can't see the crack. You can. I'm going to show you. Oh yeah. Oh, can it's here. Oh wow. I thought it was the other side for a minute because I couldn't really see it. Am I? Is it? Hang on, I'm confused. That is the big crack there, isn't it? It was the big crack there. Yeah. Look at that, chaps. Hang on. Right, hang on, let's get this off because this tubing seems to have done the trick. The idea of the tubing is it gives even pressure and proper pressure all the way up the repair. You know, rather than if you just got a couple of cramps, if you've got a couple of cramps, go see a doctor. If you've got a couple of clamps, it'll be just cramping in a couple of places, won't it? Whereas this, all the way. That's, well, I got that from T. Woodford's channel, link in the description box. But he does all sorts of great stuff as well. Well, there you go. I could probably use that again. Right, let's get these dogs out of the way. And have a look. There's glue here. So there's your glue here that's going to need rubbing off. But I'm not going to, you know, that'd be stupid, wouldn't it? Looks good. I mean, I'm confident enough that it'll hold, given that when it arrived like this, it had, the strings were at full tension because it's pulling that way anyway. It's pulling up, you know, up against the fingerboard. So, you know, there's no reason that that's not going to hold. Let's get this masking off. And again, I'll leave the truss rod till later. Once I put some strings on, I'll see if it's playable. You know, I don't know what's happened to the neck. It might have moved somewhat because of this, but There you go, you can see it's going to need a little bit of finishing there. So my intention with this is to make it playable today. That's all. As far as finishing, all I'm going to do is take the masking off, smooth it. Obviously, I'm going to need to get this glue off, but make it smooth enough so that I can play it. That's all we're going to do today. The finishing, the fine tuning, which will probably involve me taking all the lacquer off, you know, because it's cracked in other places. I'll do that another time. That's another film. Today, what we're going to do now is get all the masking off, rub it down a little bit, put some strings on, and play the damn thing. Okay, let's get the masking off first. I have some sanding blocks, medium fine, super fine. Start with a medium. As I say, at a later stage, my plan is to take the lacquer off because it's got these cracks in it. So I'm not scared of doing this. I just need to make it smooth. Super fine. Look at that. Looks all right, doesn't it? It's amazing. That's good enough for me for now. Yeah, later on I'll take the lacquer back, and apparently super glue is very good for repairing the finish. But yeah, that's for another day. Now, yeah, it feels playable. That's cool. Right. It's held so far. So let's put some strings on. See if it will tune up. I'm going to clear this paper off now. We'll put them on loose and then we'll tune them up in real time. Real pain in the arse getting the strings through these things though, I must say. You just have to keep poking until it goes. For fuck's sake. Here we go. Let's tune it up. Where should we start? Let's start in the middle. Do it a bit at a time. I'm scared. check the action and stuff. Well, it seems to have worked. Let's plug it in. Okay. The moment of truth. I've plugged it in. I've stretched the strings and I've had a noodle. I must say, it sounds really resonant. Unplugged. Fresh strings, obviously, but it's got a lovely twang to it. Shall we hear it? Okay. I'm nervous. I want it to sound really good now. I hope it's worth it. That's the bridge pickup, neck. Let's have a quick look and see, listen and see what the volume controls are like. Yeah. On the bridge. That works all the way through the range, the neck. does the job. Tone. So there you are. We fixed it. Yeah, a complete success as far, well, so far. It's still holding up. Look. Prove it. It was a fairly easy break, wasn't it? This, in terms of it, was quite a uniform break. It was holding together, and the pressure, you know, the strings, you know, was kind of pulling it back into the right place anyway. Had it been a different type of break, a hard break, a tough break, if you like, I'm sure it would have been a different story. But an easy break like this, you saw it. It's as easy as it looked, honestly. There was nothing difficult about that at all. And it cost £10.49 for me tight bond. And I spent, I think it was £18.59 on the surgical tubing. I bought 3 meters though. You don't need 3 meters. I actually cut it in half. You might get away with a meter. So, you know, 20 quid-ish for those bits. Bit of sandpaper. It's pretty much all you need, isn't it? You can do it. You can do it. If it's an easy break like that. If it's something a little bit more separated in one place, well, hopefully we'll never find out. But if it ever happens and I get a break like that, we'll have a go and see if glue can hold that sort of thing. But if you want proper advice on headstock breaking, check out Ted's channel, because he does all sorts of stuff, you know, where he puts splines in and stuff. I couldn't do that. Honestly, I couldn't do that. I mean, I can do stuff like paintbrush and a bit of glue. An idiot can do that, can't they? When it comes to actual carpentry or using super glue, I probably won't get involved in that. Anyway, so there you go. And the great thing is, we were able to compare them. We were able to hear it and compare the expensive one with the affordable ebony one here. So I don't know if you noticed, but in that last bit of playing, I did drop in the standard one at the end there. So you were hearing them back to back there. Did you notice? Look, here's another bit of back to back, because this is all about comparing these, see what they sound like, see if they sound any different. So here's another clip of back to back on both pickups. We're going to do some stuff on the neck, a little bit, just a brief thing now on the neck and on the bridge, so you can hear what they sound like. Go. That's interesting, isn't it? They sound similar. It's always the case, you know, when you compare expensive guitars with much more affordable ones, there's never that massive difference that you're expecting to hear. I said at the beginning of this film, I want this Korina one to sound really good now because of, I suppose, because I want it to represent good value for the money. I'll talk about value because I was just watching John Nathan Caldy, who's a great YouTuber, and he summed this all up better than I ever have. He was reviewing the Greeny Moore Les Paul Standard, the Gibson one, and he was talking about, you know, his disappointment actually with that guitar. You know, he spent $3,000 on a guitar, and it didn't really live up to his expectations in terms of the value proposition. You want a guitar to be great, but that that value, you know, what does it represent value-wise is really important, isn't it? It's a very important part of the equation. And it throws the balance, doesn't it? And that actually does really explain a lot of the turmoil that I've gone through with some of the stuff that I've spoken to you guys about. You know, my Gibson custom shop guitars and stuff. You know, there's always something you go, well, that was really expensive. It's good, but it's really expensive, and it kind of skews things a lot. It's thanks, John, for that. I've stolen that idea. This, you know, look at these two. Yeah, back to these two. This one here, the standard one, it's a great guitar, $649. This is what Epiphone do brilliantly. They take iconic Gibson guitars and they make them affordable. As far as this one's concerned, though, they're kind of, I think Epiphone had jumped the shark a little bit with this particular one. I know what they're trying to do, but this is not what Epiphone is about for me. For a lot of you, I know. The Inspired by Gibson custom thing is a great idea. Put Gibson burst bucker pickups in it and some different neck profiles, and yeah, fine. Last year or the year before, we bought the 59 Les Paul. That was great, but that was, I think I paid £750 for that. And the SG, the 61 SG, I had one of those, and I think I paid £701 for that. They're, you know, a bit more, fine. $1,300, it's too much. It's too much more. This is not what, for me, Epiphone represent. You know, taking iconic Gibson models and making them unaffordable. It didn't quite work. You know, the value proposition isn't there for this. As good as it is, and I'm not knocking this guitar, you know, if you've got one or you're getting one or you want to get one, don't let that put you off if you think it represents good value. I don't think it does, because I think at that price there's a lot of alternatives. I mean, a used Gibson, you know, my 91, I only paid 1,400 sterling, I think it was, for this. I think that was the ticket price on this when I bought it. So you know, yeah, there's competition. Get a used Gibson, get a new Gibson for not a lot more than that. That's a fact. Check it out. The difference in sound is never as much as you expect it to be. You heard them back to back. I think that the Korina one, to my ears, sounds a little bit smoother. And that's not necessarily a good thing. I think I preferred the neck pickup on the standard one than I did on the Korina one. I think the bridge pickup on Korina one was a little bit nicer. I think it sounded a little bit rawer. It did roar a little bit more on the cheaper one, which is, you know, depending on what way you look at it, maybe a better thing, maybe a good thing. But, you know, they're very, very close in pickup height settings. I made a point of checking that before I played them. They're different tone woods, they're different pickups. There isn't a massive difference, and you could easily tweak that. Don't go buying the expensive version because you think it's going to sound that much better, because it doesn't. End of. Is it worth double? No, I don't think it is. I genuinely don't think it is. I don't think, if you're thinking of collectability, it's not there. It's not a thing. It's not a limited edition. They'll be banging these out forever. The price, no doubt, will drop. I'm very proud of that, though. I'm very proud that I've repaired it, and I've had a lot of fun with this guitar. I got a discount. I didn't get a massive discount because I suppose they couldn't really give a massive discount. They only gave me 25% off this, incidentally. But, you know, I managed to make another film out of it, haven't I? And it's now well, I'm going I'm going to make another film out of it, as well as I think I said earlier, fine-tuning this repair. But that will be on the subscription TV channel, which is where I bang out loads of extras, maybe even once a week now. There's exclusive content. I'll make a film about that, just finessing it. That'll be on the subscription channel. Check it out if you haven't already. You're missing stuff. It's 30 days free, and after that, it's $50 a year, a whole year for access. So you can get, or you can watch this video without any adverts in it, for starters, and you can watch all the extra content. I made a film last weekend looking at this repair and talking it through with my supporters there. And we were talking about it in the forum, getting advice in. So if you want to be part of that kind of exclusive community, I think there's a good value proposition there, incidentally. It's not for nothing. It supports this channel and it keeps sponsorship offer there, and it allows me to talk, as I say, whatever I like about Gibson and Epiphone guitars and anything really. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I need to plug it because it's important that it supports this work. So if you like this work, please check out the TV channel and consider subscribing and becoming part of that community. Anyway, plug over. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I've summed it up. Is it worth twice as much? For me, no. For me, no. Let me know what you think, please, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, in the comments. Where's the level do you think that Epiphone do jump the shark with their pricing? I mean, prices have gone up, so this, I think maybe $900 is the ceiling. I think at $900 you could justify. You say, oh, it's different woods. How much extra does that wood cost? It's a lovely piece of wood. Yeah, it is. It is a lovely piece of wood. How much is that worth? Oh, I don't know. I don't know the answer. And the pickups. How much is that worth? $250, $300? I don't know. Maybe it's just not something they should be doing. Maybe they should save that for, the big G brand and find a different way of doing it, maybe. Find a different way of doing it. A lot of people say that it's time for Gibson to start making guitars offshore. So can you imagine the potential if they did start doing that? Maybe that's something they will do. I think it would, it's only what I think. A lot of people would be up in arms if that happened, wouldn't they? I think it'd be a really smart move. I think that, what does it fucking matter what I think? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. I think that what Epiphone do brilliantly is this. They make affordable versions of iconic guitars. So old blokes like me can own all of the whole range of Gibson guitars that they can possibly afford, and they'll probably very rarely play, and they can have them all lined up and they all look brilliant. We've got our Firebirds, we've got our Explorer, we've got our Flying V, we've got Les Pauls, we've got a Hammer Epiphone. Where is the 56 Les Paul Gold Top? You'd sell a shed load, two or three shed loads of those, P90s. Come on, get your finger out. We don't need this. We don't need this. We've got this. We don't need that. I'm going to go now. It's gone weird, isn't it? Next week, I shall be reviewing a new guitar. What is in this box? If you want to find out what's in this box, I'm going to be unboxing it at the weekend on the TV channel. So check it out and you'll know what's coming up this time next week. And if you can't be bothered to do that, just come back this time next week. Same time, same place, and find out. I look forward to seeing you. Thanks ever so much for indulging me, for watching. If you're still here, bloody well done. Thanks a lot. See you next week. Look forward to it. Cheers for now. Ta-da.